It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. I almost didn't say it. I don't know what I was doing. I forgot, Robbie, what to say. I was like, I got to say this. Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Here we are. This is going to be a fun podcast because I'm already forgetting the easiest part of the whole thing is the intro. We'll see if I mess up the outro too, Robbie. Yeah. Hey, I did something today that I always do in all of my training blocks. I did a long run on the treadmill. What are your thoughts on a long run on the treadmill, Robbie?
I've never I've done a bunch of 10 milers on the treadmill, but I've never done a long run on the treadmill. I guess you could consider a long 10 mile.
Yeah, 10 miles could be a long run. I think, long runs, in my opinion, are subjective to the training block that you're in, right? If I'm not training for anything and I'm like way lower miles, a 10 miler is my long run, right? But now that, I'm in a block doing some training for something, I did 18 milers a day. I did it, I had to get some elevation in, so 2,200 feet of elevation. But I think, here's my justification behind it. I think that in our type of racing, the ultra world, that the first 50 miles is physical. The second 50 miles of a 100-miler is mental. And the mental gain that you get from running on the treadmill, I think is huge. And I think that plays huge benefits to helping you out in that second 50 milers. Now, I might be just the wildest person out here, and people are like, what are you talking about? But that's just, it seems to work for me. I don't know.
No, I could see that. If I maybe had like a treadmill at home, it could be a different story, but I've always, used a treadmill at a gym.
Yeah.
And it can get a little uncomfortable running for that long at the gym.
I do get that.
Maybe if it was like in my living room or garage or room or something.
Yeah, I do have
here's the other part. The couch would probably look pretty good.
Well, so I have the privilege of having one, and it's in my garage, and I have a 60-inch TV right in front of it with every freaking app channel thing that you can possibly want. And so it's not that bad, to be honest with you. I literally watched an entire football game while I was running. So it's not.
Yeah, that'd probably make it a lot easier.
Carrie, welcome to the podcast. Carrie is an ultra runner. She is from Alabama, where we met. We'll go into that a little bit later. And she's a Spartan runner, our first one. And so I'm super excited to jump into that. But before we jump into any of that, I want to know your thoughts on long run treadmills.
Well, I saw the face that Robbie made initially when you asked him, and I totally concur. I don't like short runs on treadmills. I just don't like treadmills.
I get that. I totally get that. Yeah. I think that there's a time and place for them, and they can be used as a great tool. We've had a lot of runners on the podcast that live in climates like myself. It's like right now, it's above freezing and it's raining out, and the roads are just complete ice. There's been wrecks all over the place. There was an avalanche a little bit south of us. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I have studded shoes. I could probably run, but what if a car loses control? And, and so the trails are absolute trash right now. So you're not getting out on the trails. And so it's just like, it's kind of just a justification to jump on a treadmill, but, it's like looking out for my safety at the same time, so I think that there's great benefits to two of them. And I think that they can really be utilized in a safe manner for people that live in environments where it is a potential to be dangerous running outside. That's my justification. I'm sticking to it. I don't care what anybody says. Well, Carrie, thanks for coming on the podcast. We're super excited to jump into Spartan racing. We've never heard anything about it. But first, let's talk about how we found each other. I think this is super cool. So everyone remembers I was running a race in Alabama. I have a goal of running an ultra in every state. There was a race on Ultra Sign Up that I found called the Endless Mile, and it kind of bodes well to my treadmill running. You run in a 1 mile circle for as long as you can. I had signed up for the 50K, which was a new option this year. You could run a marathon or a 50K instead of like the 72, 48, 24,
24, 12.
all the way down to 6, I guess. And so I thought it was cool. I don't have to be there for a specific time. I could start whenever I wanted. I just had to get a 50K in. I thought that was really a good beneficial thing. So I jumped in. I worked all day Friday, went up to about an hour north of where I was and started running the 50K. I probably like 20, I might have been like 25, 26 miles in, and it's dark. It's probably 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Carrie comes up to me and she's like, "Are you running in Stash?"
Well, you had already laughed me a couple times,
Okay.
We'll get to my horrendous speed as a runner later. And it's one of those where I'm like, I looked at you and I was like, wait a minute. Obviously I don't know you personally. I don't, some of the people there that come year after year, we get to know each other. But,
of course.
And a few things, the tattoos on your arms. I was like, wait a minute. I think I know who that is. And I go to tell a friend of mine that was doing it with me. She's clueless. She's like, whatever. She was well mileage ahead of me, so she was tired. She was not paying attention to my fangirl. Gosh, I think this is... I go, bring back up your profile on Instagram to find your real name, okay? Because, who knows you as running in Stash other than, followers. So then, this is going to sound very creeper of me, but so got to where you were coming around again. I was like, okay, I'm going to run along with them. So, when you crossed the pad, it told you how many, laps you had done. And so, I did that strategically so I could see your name pop up.
Double check.
Yep. And I was like, yep, that's him.
That's so funny.
So, yeah. And
then the next lap, you came around and you found me. That's really cool. Yeah, it's so cool to see, honestly. Like, that's not the reason why I do it, right? I don't do it for that. I do it because, the Instagram and all that craziness. Like, when I first started it, I did it just because, like, I thought it was going to be something cool. But now I've kind of dove into the world of, like, making running accessible for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's so many elitists out there that are like, if you're not running a 3-hour marathon or an 18-hour 100-mile or whatever your distance is, then you don't belong in the running space. And it's just like, why?
Right.
99% of us are hobby runners or hobby joggers, as I like to say, because it's funny. Because that also makes people mad. I'm not a jogger. Like, yeah, you kind of are. And so it's like, it's so stupid how mad people get, and I find so much joy in pissing them off on the internet. It makes me so happy. It really does. And so now my platform has kind of turned into, me just like doing funny, stupid reels, but like also at the same time letting people know that, running is accessible to everyone. Like, I do reels like, all you need is a pair of shoes and $1,000 watch and $1,400 worth of clothes. And I get it. But in the end, like, you could strap on a pair of shoes that you've owned for 2 years and go out and, run a couple miles. It's such an accessible sport for sure.
Well, I think I probably latched onto you, and I don't know when you came across, my feed or whatever, but with the whole concept of walking is okay. Because I have a lot of running friends out there that, I want to run a 5K without stopping. I want to run a 10K without stopping, and all of those are wonderful goals, but I'm like, there's no shame in my walking game and shouldn't be. And so, when I think you had a few along those subject lines, and I'm like, hey, here's this guy that's doing umpteen miles on a regular basis. He says it's okay to walk. So I like him. Click.
I'm more forced to walk than anything because I usually go out too hard and blow myself up sometimes, and then I'm caught walking. I'm like, dang it, I need to go out a little bit calmer. But yeah, you're right. Like, what does it matter? Like,
you're still moving forward.
I don't get it. Like, if you're walking, you're walking. Like, I understand. Like, you may have a goal and like you want to go. If you're running a marathon, you want to reach that marathon goal. Like, you may have to strategically walk sometimes to help yourself out, but or may not walk at all. But like in your training, like there's nothing wrong with that, and just people just get so. That's the number one thing that pisses people off is when you talk about walking as a runner. It's like, God, that just aggravates the hell out of people. I love it. I set my PR in the marathon last year. I broke sub 4 in the marathon, and every aid station, which was 2 to 3 miles, every aid station. I walked into the aid station, grabbed water so I'm not drowning myself as I'm, grabbing 4 cups and running and water slushing everywhere. I walked into the aid station, grabbed a drink, and then 10 seconds walk, and then ran out. I did that every single time, and I set like a 40-minute PR. So it's like,
wow,
you can strategically walk and steal PR races. So I don't get it, but anyway.
I regularly get my my ass kicked in races by people that are doing the intervals the whole way. And, their overall pace is still way better than mine. So, I mean, who cares?
Well, we had talked about Robbie and I doing a 200, right, in September. We're both doing the Cowboy 200. And we've kind of come up with a plan of we're going to run a mile, walk a mile. And that we have zero idea what benefit that's going to do or anything. But in my head, and I'm sure in Robbie's head, we're like, well, if we walk, we'll save our resting legs and we can move further quicker, if that makes sense. But rather than running 100 miles, blowing up, and then trying to crawl our way for the next 100 miles. So I think that's going to be our plan is we're going to run one, walk one. And I was doing the math, and it's a little over 3 miles an hour, with like, we're calling it a 12, 13 minute mile run, and then a 20-minute mile walk. It ends up being, it's a little bit like 3.5, but I took all that 3.5 off, just said 3 right off the bat. That's like a 66, 67 hours, 200 mile. I'm like, I'm not upset by that. It's not going to happen that way because we all know you're going to blow up somewhere, and it's like, it looks good on paper. Right. Exactly. So yeah, I will be walking and Robbie will be walking during a 200 miler. So
yes, lots of walking.
And we'll make sure that we capture that to let everyone know that we're running a 200 miler and we're walking. So, well, how many miles did you end up getting on that race?
Endless mile just this last time?
Yeah.
My goal was 100. It's been a goal of 100 multiple times, and I say I got 100, but I got 100K.
100K is awesome. That's a lot of miles.
Yeah, I mean, I fully admit I tanked. Friend of mine that was coming, she got to the 100 mile. Bless her. She's fantastic, and that I was, I guess, more happy to celebrate her, and so it was still a good event. The year before, I got to 82-ish, so I've gotten closer.
Yeah.
And really thought this was going to be it, but yeah, for whatever it was, my head wasn't in it, and so I just kind of had fun with it.
Yeah. Hey, 100K is amazing.
Oh, that's what I've had people tell me, that only 100K.
Yeah, you only ran 100K.
Only 100K. Only 62 miles.
Only 60.
But there's always 2025, so I'll be back.
I love those style events, not for the fact that it's a 1 mile loop, but they're so cool because you see people out there that may not typically be in your trail ultra marathons, right? And it's like you have a lot of older people out there that can't maybe can't run trails anymore because roots, rocks, elevation, that type of thing. They move slower, so maybe can't meet cutoffs. And so, having that option of a 72, 48, 24 hour, and they can just move their body for that long on, a fairly flat, there was a little bit of elevation, but a fairly flat route. I am so impressed by them.
Yeah, I saw a few of them that come every year and just blow it out, get their buckle, and I'm just like, yeah.
I was so amazed. I have chill bumps right now thinking about it. It was just so cool. I don't know the ages of anybody that were out there, but I assume there was a couple 80-year-olds that were out there. And I was just like, I want to be 80 years old, still running a 48-hour race, trying to get a buckle. Like, how cool is that? Like, it's just such a sport, and it's unlike any other. Like, it's so welcoming. Everybody in those type of platforms, everybody seeing each other, cheering each other on. I was moving faster than anybody because I was fresh, and I caught everybody at, I think I came like the afternoon, evening time frame of the first day of the 48 hours. People had been running at least a day and a half to a half of a day. And so, a lot of people were resting through the night and that type of stuff. And I came in super fresh legs. So I was passing a lot of people, but it was cool to, see everybody every lap and, people cheering each other on and talking a little bit. it's just such a cool crowd, honestly.
Oh yeah. I've
And
had
that was
some
my
pretty
first
amazing
time.
conversations with people,
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, 1 in the afternoon,
Well,
because you're going to be
conversations
on a
at 2
lap
o'clock.
with,
Conversations at 2 o'clock in the morning are always amazing, to be honest.
oh yeah.
That's
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool. I saw one girl was running and she passed me a couple times. And I was like, yeah, I was like, dang, you're moving good. Keep going. And she's like, yeah, I'm 3 miles away from my 100-mile buckle. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're moving so good for 100 miles. And, and then she got her buckle and I thought maybe that was it for her. And then I saw her again and I was like, whoa, she's going out for more. And I was just like, super, super cool to, she got her 100-mile buckle and then, yeah, I kept going. That's super cool. I love it. I love it. I love everything about those type of races. And I'll definitely be going back. No, maybe not the endless mile, but I'll definitely be going back to some event. Cause it was 93 when I started the race and I'm not a hot weather runner. So I did not appreciate that.
Yeah, it was warmer than usual.
Yeah, everything on the website, like, oh, it's going to be cold at night, be prepared. And it was 93 when I started. I was like, get out of here. It's not going to be cold. They're dying.
We did have a just random thought when you were talking about the young girl. I don't think it was last year or the year before. There was a couple that were handcuffed together and did the event.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
Yeah, they were trying to get some Guinness record, a world's record of something length of a run while handcuffed. Yeah. We were more intrigued with how do they go to the bathroom.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
And
I guess if you've been married for a few years, it probably doesn't matter anymore. But
yeah,
when you're ultra running, like different things happen. So,
Did they have porta potties or they have regular bathrooms?
we have regular bathrooms.
Okay. I guess that's okay then. If they were porta potties, that'd be kind of awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward. Like your hands in there with them or something.
Yeah, you'd have to be like, or, I don't know how you
Can
do
you
it.
wash my hand while you're in there, please?
Yeah. All right, you have to wipe. I can't reach.
Golden Hour Adventures just goes crazy sometimes. We go on wild rides. Well, Carrie, one thing that kind of sparked, once we talked to each other because we ran a mile together, and you had mentioned like you're a Spartan racer and you work for Spartan, and I was like, we've never had anyone that's done Spartan on the race. Somebody may have done like a race, but I was just like, man, I'm so intrigued by it. So I know you're a badass runner, and I don't want to neglect that, but I really want to hear about Spartan racing because I know nothing about it. Robbie probably knows everything, but I'm so in the dark on Spartan racing. So talk to us about it.
The badass runner adjective, I guess, is kind of a good segue to how I got into that because I am not. I'm more the, get my money's worth on an entry fee and party in the back. And
love it. The party
right.
pace.
Yes, absolutely. And so, did road races for a while and it was always, back of the packer. That was fine. And then kind of veered off into the whole obstacle course race world just on a whim. That was back in the Warrior Dash days. I don't know if you're familiar with any of the ones that have come and gone.
Definitely not.
Tried a couple of those, and it was wonderful because, yeah, you ran, but we had to stop and do an obstacle. And so it was kind of like I could take a break from the running part. Because at that point, I was still thinking you had to run continuously and never stop. You weren't allowed to walk. And so I thought, well, this is amazing. I can run and then get to the obstacle. And then I love the whole strength side of, picking up heavy shit and moving it from one place to another or climbing a wall or whatever the obstacle was. And just kind of fell in love with it. And that was, goodness, over 10 years ago. And so kind of fell into the Spartan world and raced them for a long time. That's when I still had a full-time job, volunteered at some, then I retired. And then just over series of a couple of years or so, then that's how I started to work for them because I had all this free time. Didn't have to go to, I was a school teacher and educator.
Nice. How long did you teach school for?
Well, I was in education for 28. I was classroom teacher for, I guess, 18 of that because then I went to work at a university through a state program.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So then, had the opportunity to get on board with Spartan, and I'm not like anybody important again in that sense either. Worked the registration tents, but going and actually being at the events with the other side, a different perspective, not as a racer, woohoo, I'm here to do this and get dirty and have fun. But I got to see hundreds and thousands of people that were coming to do it and just have really fallen in love with that side of it too. And so I've been working for them now for 2 years. This will be the start of my third. So
that's really cool.
That's been a lot of fun. Yeah. They ship me off to wherever the race is for the event, come in on a Thursday, set it all up on Friday, not the race. There's a whole nother crew that does that. They don't want me building obstacles and things. Set up our registration area, and then Saturday and Sunday are the event days. So, from dawn till far past dusk, often checking the people in, and then Sunday, break everything down. Then Monday I come home.
Nice. What are the events as far as distances? Because I know, like you said, you do run a little bit and then there's obstacles. So I'm assuming the longer the distance, the more obstacles, but like 5K, 10K, that type thing.
Yeah, there's a whole menu with Spartan, and they did kind of, I guess, regulate it there after a while. But yeah, the sprint is basically your 5K distance-wise, about 20 obstacles. And then your super is supposed to be about a 10K, more about 30 obstacles. And then you have a beast, which is your half marathon distance, more obstacles added to that. And then we also have an ultra, 30-ish, 31, typical 50K. And it's basically usually 2 of those beast loops and then a little bonus.
What kind of obstacles are out there?
Oh, like I said, you climb walls, a lot of monkey bar rig type things, where you have to have the upper body strength and grip strength to swing across, like rings, bars you got to shimmy across. We've got, like I said, the heavy carries where you're picking up Atlas balls and have to take it a certain distance. Farmer carries. You have to go in really cold, icy mud water and dunk underneath. I mean, it's a lot of things that are kind of just helping you challenge your fears.
Yeah.
And, you do need to train for it too. I mean, plenty of people just come out, I've never done this before. And I'm like, okay, have fun with that.
That'd be me. I'd be like, yeah, I know how to run a half marathon. I'll just show up and die.
Right. Or the opposite. You get a lot of, very strong. I'm a weightlifter. I can move tons of plates in the gym, but they hate the running part. And so they have to kind of find the balance between those two.
So what drove you to Spartan as opposed to, the running community, or the road running?
Like I said, just the mix of the two things.
Yeah.
It had the running involved, but then I could also work on getting stronger.
Did somebody introduce you to it, or did you just what is this? Let me go try this out, or?
That's a good question. No, I think I sought it out. I don't know if it just advertisement, but yeah, just the challenge of doing something that was a little different.
Gotcha.
And every time you went and did one, then it's like, oh, I failed that obstacle. Well, guess what? When I come back the next time, I'm going to try to conquer it. And so.
Yeah. Have you done all the distances?
I've done everything except the ultra.
You got to go after the ultra now.
I know.
You can only run 100K. So, I guess you got to go.
You can only do 31 miles.
Yeah.
Half of that.
They like to do those ultras at ski resort places, that have all the elevation, which again, when I'm out on a trail by myself, that's fine. But there's not a time cutoff and, that sort of thing. There are a couple that are a little flatter. Fayetteville, North Carolina, Dallas. Those are the ones that if I ever decide to, get that wild hair, those are the ones I'm going to try.
Robbie, have you ever thought about doing one?
So, the funny thing, this is how I got into trail running was I got asked to do a Tough Mudder. They were down a team member. This was in 2010. And I've heard of Tough Mudder. I knew the Spartan. I knew of the Warrior Dash. The Warrior Dash was really big for a while.
That was the gateway.
Yeah. And they were doing the 10K. And with the Tough Mudder, you could sign up as a team type thing. I don't know if you can with Spartan. It was you didn't all have to stay together. It was everyone's time put together. That was your team's time.
Okay.
And so I was like, sure, I've never ran on the trails before. I have mountain bike class. So that's how I found the trails and started running on the trails, was because I started training for that Tough Mudder. And actually, this one was 10 miles and I finished under 2 hours. And
that's awesome.
I was the first one on our team. And when I finished the finish line, they invited me to whatever their big thing was, the ultra 24-hour
World's
Tough
toughest
thing.
mudder.
Yeah, world's toughest
Yeah.
mudder. I got
World's
invited to
toughest
that.
mudder.
It's 24 hours. They do it in the wintertime. I remember that.
Yeah.
But I had no clue. I didn't go. But that's how I got into trail running, was because of the Tough Mudder.
You got an invite the first year out, the first race out.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, though. No, the transition from road to trail running was because of Spartan, because, yeah, I'd only just, ran on the roads and then ventured into Spartan racing, and then we're all like out in the woods, and so I was like, okay, I need to go learn how to do this because it's very different.
So in a Spartan race, is it like a loop, like a big 10-mile loop or half marathon loop, and all on trails, or is it on roads, or?
No, it's all trail.
It is all trail. Okay.
Yeah. And so depending on the event weekend, if it's all three, if they're doing a sprint, super, and a beast weekend, I mean, they'll have their own separate course. Like the super may encompass a good bit of the sprint and then have a little extra bit. Yeah.
Oh,
and then the
okay.
beast would have, So.
And then the ultras are usually separate to everything, or?
Like I said, they would do 2 of the beast courses, and then there's usually some little extra terrorizing part that they have to do.
So the race directors are typical, like, ultra marathon race directors when they're going to terrorize you a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They want it to be, they want it to be difficult. You're not coming out there to, play on a playground.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'll have to maybe look into doing a Spartan race one of these days.
Well, come on.
I have so many goals. I don't know. I gotta like line my goals up for the next 10 years, because they're just like piling on one top of the other.
Well, let me know where you're traveling to, because, we don't go up to Alaska, but.
No, not many people do. It's unfortunate. This would make a great Spartan race place, though.
Oh, I bet it would. Yeah.
You want the freezing water? I think we got that under control.
Yeah, they
The
don't even
mud.
put
don't
ice
even
in the
have to-
water.
Yeah. We got it all. We got it all here. I mean, we could probably just build it pretty easily.
You're probably right.
Well, as an East Coast runner, trail runner, what are some of the races that you've run, trail runs?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of them that are here locally that, kind of keep me home. I think I was telling you that yesterday was one of our biggest ones. It's called Mountain Mist at 50K on our local mountain here on Montesano. I didn't run it. I was a volunteer. Realized my weaknesses. I have one glorious DNF where I attempted it one year and did not finish.
Has it got a lot of elevation gain in it?
It's over 4,000.
Okay, wow, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And so this was their first year. So yeah, it's been going on for a long time. Wanted to be at the finish line just because that kind of inspires me every year. I'm going to try it again. And, I haven't quite put my toe back in it because it's rough. There's quite a few that, will go try, and there's a lot of time cutoffs along the way. And so as I struggle with my speed, even when the ground's flat, you put it out there on, rocky, hilly, technical climbs. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one question I always ask: East Coast or West Coast versus Beast Coast. Whose trails are tougher? Who's the tougher runner?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't done much, anything on the West Coast. I mean, I've been to some of the Spartan events and seen what they have them out there running, and it looks very different to me than what we have over on this side. But I'm not going to say theirs are easy by any means. They're, everybody's got their own different flavor to it. Yeah,
I like to
I'm not going to pick a side on that.
I like to spark the arguments over. I've run the West Coast trails. The West Coast trails are butter. They're switchbacky. They're buttery trails.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've run on the Pinhoti. I don't know if that's considered like maybe far East Coast, but that's east enough to me, I guess. The Pinhoti is just straight up and straight back down. Like there's no switchbacks at all. Like they didn't know what a switchback was when they built the Pinhoti trail. They went straight up with things. That's a cool trail too. I don't know how much you've ran on that trail. I'm assuming quite a bit, but
no, I think that was the only time I've actually been on that. I did the Make-A-Wish, if you're familiar with that foundation, and they do a big hike. Wasn't technically any running. And I was quite gimpy that year. I was leading into some knee surgery, and so I was hobbling most of that. But yeah, Pinhoti's very nice.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful trail, beautiful, and the Pinhoti 100 too. That's That's a
Yeah, I've
cool
heard a lot
race.
about that.
Yeah. What do you have on your plans for 25?
My penciled in goals for this year are it's all leading back up to good old endless.
Okay.
Just because, like I said, the 100 has still been elusive to me.
Which one have you signed up for? What distance or what time?
Well, like I said, it's a series of events. So far I'm doing not next month, March. Just a 12-hour event. It's another one of those 1 mile loops. So
Okay.
just the mental side of going out for 12 hours and I'm going to say not stopping. Now, obviously, you got to stop, take care of business and stuff. Because I think that's been my downfall is I'm going to take a little break and a little break turns into 15 minutes and then 50, that sort of thing.
Yep, I know that all too well.
So a 12-hour in March, and then in April, I'm doing a 24-hour. Again, that's in Tennessee. Same kind of idea. Just start it, stay on the course. I shouldn't have to need the 6 hours of sleep that I feel like I do, just to keep to push it. And then in July, which is going to be miserable because it's going to be hot, there's another 12-hour, but it's overnight.
Oh,
And so,
okay.
yeah,
Those are interesting. The nighttime races are really interesting. Robbie and I both ran one a couple of years ago, and it's kind of cool. It started like 6 p.m. and it was just
I think this is 7 to 7,
Yeah.
7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
maybe because it is in July and in the South, and so
Right,
get a
I'm sure it'll be so
little-
much cooler by 7.
I'm just trying to think of ways to like make it sound good.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, to try to, lack of sleep and get over that mental side of it, like, so much of it is. And somewhere in between July and October, I want to just do a practice for myself. I haven't been able to find another event that's 48 hours leading up to it. I mean, there are some out there, but not within me to be able to travel and, get to in a cost-effective way. And so, anyway, getting outside of my own head so that I can finally get it done this year, I think.
You're going to get it done this year. I have all the faith. I know it's going to happen.
Well, I appreciate that.
And did you sign up for are you going to, or I don't know if it's opened yet, but the 48-hour for Endless Mile, that's the one you're doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll stick with 48. I've had some people say, Carrie, just do the 72 and then you could sleep. And I was like, well, no, the fact that I know mathematically, physically I can do it in 48. It's just doing it. Yeah.
That's so awesome. You're going to get your buckle this year. That's great.
Yeah.
Have you
You'll
run a
probably hear
100
me-
miler yet?
Do what?
Have you run 100 yet?
Well, now that's why I'm trying so hard to get there. I was going to say, you'll hear me yell when I do get it there. When
I'll
it
be all the way in
happens.
Alaska. I'll be like, what was that noise? Like, oh, Carrie must have got her buckle. Well, I definitely want to get a message, with a picture of you with your buckle.
There you go.
And so I'm
Okay.
holding you to that. Like, now you have more pressure on your back because I'm owed a picture in October
Okay.
of you with your
All right.
buckle.
Well,
So
then it's
and
done.
don't just take one off the table and be like, oh, here's my picture. You got to get the 100-mile buckle.
Okay. I got it.
Awesome.
It's funny. I can see your endless mile behind you. I can see the
Oh, is
wrist
it back there?
movement. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
It's hanging up. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's right there. Of course, got to represent. Got my buckles on the top up here, and then, all the medals. Those are not just all my medals. Those are mine and my wife. So, I don't have that many medals. I'd say, half of those are mine. Yeah, she does. She runs. She does. She hasn't gotten a buckle yet. I say yet because I'm still trying to talk her into it. But she's got quite a few medals. So
Okay.
she's run a
So
couple
my
50Ks.
medal is in my floorboard of my car. That's how much I cared about that 100K. When I
Oh, they didn't give you a 100K buckle?
nah,
Oh,
you
okay.
just get the medal.
Got you. Yeah, some races do the 100K buckle. I like those. If I'm going to run 100K, I want to do one that has a buckle. I don't know why.
Yeah, well,
But
that's true.
that's true. Yeah. So a couple of those are 100K buckles.
Okay.
Okay, let's do some quick fire questions for you.
Goodness.
You already know the answer to these. It shouldn't be a surprise. What is your favorite pack?
Favorite pack, like as in hydration pack?
Hydration pack. Yep.
Okay. My current one that I'm using is an amphipod pack.
Okay. Never heard of that.
Okay. Yeah. They do a lot of the lights and things and some other like hydration handhelds.
Is
And
that
so-
is that an?
No.
Thought I've seen. I know
Oh,
what you're
so-
talking about. Yeah, okay. I've seen because I have a lot of their lights. They're little bitty lights like that. Yeah. I have a lot of their lights, but I bought those off of Amazon, so I didn't know if they were an Amazon brand. You know, some of the brands are just random, like on Amazon.
Right.
Like
right.
Bayleaf. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bayleaf, but I have tons of their shorts. I love their shorts, but they're like just an Amazon brand. I don't know why, but their shorts are phenomenal. Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one I'm currently using, but it's down to kind of ghetto on the front. I lost a strap
No,
somewhere, and so I've got it kind of rigged, holding it together.
well, you wouldn't be an ultra runner if you didn't have like something rigged or broken, right?
Right. My daughter bought me an Ultra Spire one for Christmas though, but I haven't christened it yet. So
Nice.
I
Yeah,
kind
you
of feel
got-
like I have to wait for the other one to break completely.
Well, I mean, I think if it's down to one strap, you've probably earned
Yeah.
your right to replace it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't need it to fall apart on a run and have to
That's true. That's
use
true. That
some
would be all.
sleeves or something to tie it back together.
Yeah, you'll just be
Pretty
out there in the
impressive.
middle of nowhere and like, all right, well, that strap's gone. Now what? And then you have chafing because it's gonna be bouncing everywhere. And it's
Yeah.
like,
No.
it's time to retire it, Carrie. It's time
Okay.
to let her go. And
I'll do it.
maybe like put it in a frame or something so you can have just the sentimental value of it. But I understand, like, packs have been, like I wear my emotional vest everywhere. Like a 3 mile run, I'm wearing it because I'm just used to it. And like it's a phone holder. I may not even have water in it. Let's be honest, I do have water in it, but
Yeah.
it's like I wear it on every single run, so I understand the emotional attachment to a vest. I
Yeah,
get it.
it served me well. I've got a lot of miles in it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
when you retire a pair of shoes and you say, "Oh, I'll mow the grass in them." I'll mow the grass.
Yep.
Carrie will be out there mowing the grass in a vest. People are like, what is she doing?
Why would you planning on mowing that yard? My goodness.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. What's your go-to nutrition? Like, what do you use on your runs?
Now this is really going to make me seem like a redneck, because I don't latch on to a lot of the, I guess, brands that are out there. I mean, I'll use Huma. I do like the Huma
Yeah.
gels if I'm going to actually purchase a gel.
The little seeds
But-
just get stuck in my teeth. I don't know what it is. I just not a.
Yeah, but I
mean,
like the texture of that better than the slimy.
yeah,
other-
they are good. I'm not gonna lie. Just the little seeds. They gotta
Okay.
grind those up a little bit more.
But I'm actually more of like a go-go squeeze applesauce.
Okay, yeah.
And you can get them now with electrolytes in them. So that's
Really?
a little added. Yeah.
Built for ultra runners. I like it.
Yeah. Fruit snacks. I guess a lot of it's just being cheap too. I
Hey,
don't
there's
wanna
there's
taste
That's
nothing
good.
there's nothing redneck or ghetto about any of that because I'm pretty sure everybody else that ultra runs uses fruit snacks, sticks, gummy
Pop-Tarts.
little snack gummy Pop-Tarts. Like,
Mhm.
trust me, that's normal. You're a
Okay.
normal person.
Yay!
Well, you're not normal because you run the crazy
Oh, yeah,
distances
sure.
that we run, but you're a normal in our community.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll sometimes go down the baby aisle and I'm like flipping, like, all right, this one has 25 grams of carbs. Let's try
Yeah.
that one. This one has, So now that I have a kid, I'm like, well, we're going to be sharing our food. So
You know what are great?
Buying it in
Those
bulk. Yeah.
yeah, buying in
little-
bulk, like, this one is not for you, Justin. This is for her.
freeze dried yogurt things.
Oh
Who
yeah.
haven't tried those?
Wait till she gets old enough and you can start giving her those. Those things are magic because they just
Are
melt
they?
in your mouth. I don't know
Nice.
how much nutrition's in them. They just
Yeah, there's probably
They're-
none.
I don't think there's much, but they're pretty good. They're pretty magical.
It's funny. Yeah, that's great. I can't wait. I'm just, be sharing food and be like, yeah, I know this one is good. So, it's good. Like if she's complaining about it.
Well, I remember when I first started, it was right before, baby food you can get in the pouches. When I was first doing a few races, people still had the jars. Then you'd see them. Ours
Can you,
in their
carrying
drop
the
bags.
jars
Wow.
around jingling.
In their drop bags or at their crew, to be out there. A lot of people would do sweet potatoes,
Mhm.
carrots, and some other stuff. But I remember the first time seeing people eating baby food, and I'm like, what is going on? Then,
It's so funny.
I had my daughter, and I was walking down and looking at the jars. I'm like, oh, there's quite a bit of carbohydrates in some of that stuff.
I've done it too. I've walked down the aisles. It's so funny. It's so funny. All right, Carrie, what's your go-to shoe?
Ooh, all right. I am a shoe, I don't know, psychotic. I also work in a shoe store. I've worked in a running specialty shoe stores for past couple of years too. So you get very addicted to shoes.
You're really taking retirement to the next level here. You,
Yeah, that's what I'm.
you
I've heard
quit
this,
one
like-
job and get 2 more.
Yeah, I actually have 3 because I work
Oh
in a
my
gym
gosh.
also.
You work where? What did you say?
In a gym at the YMCA here.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
These are like good goals to have, though. Like these support all of our needs when we get older, right?
Well, that's exactly it. I work for the 3 things that I like to do.
That's
So, yeah,
true.
why
That's-
not? But okay, so an actual Topo brand is a big one that I like to run in, both road shoes and trail shoes. I have Ultra, Topo, Saucony. Those are the 3 that are in my rotation right now.
Well, since you work in a running store, is it Saucony or Saucony?
Saucony.
It is Saucony. I've always said Saucony, but I hear people say Saucony, and I'm like, where are you getting
Yeah.
Saucony from?
I'm pretty sure I said that for a long time too. And the vendor themselves, the rep, there was a shirt and it had it spelled phonetically on the back. Saucony. So
All right, well, that's good. Now I know. I'll be like, next time somebody corrects me, I'll be like, well, Carrie told me
that's right.
she works in
Saucony.
a running store.
My work here is done. Here I go.
You clarified the answer. We've all been wondering. So, all right, this is the most important one here. If you could be a dinosaur, which dinosaur would you be?
I'm going to admit that I was a science teacher, but dinosaurs were not.
I probably wouldn't have admitted that then.
Yeah, I know. So I could be a dinosaur. How about, gosh, I don't want to be so trite and be like, velociraptor, because that's what everybody's going to say. You can't say brontosaurus. I know that's not a real dinosaur. That was refuted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know something, yeah.
Is that which one with the Brachiosaurus? Is that what you're saying?
Well, brontosaurus is
Brontosaurus.
BRNTO, yeah. And then it turned that, yeah, brachiosaurus is what it actually.
Brachiosaurus. Okay. Yeah, I don't know dinosaurs either. I know like the running
know.
ones, the small ones. I don't know. Whatever was on Jurassic Park, that's about the extent of what I know. There's like T-Rex.
I can be real nerdy and say, okay, I'm going to be a horseshoe crab because they are technically a dinosaur. They've just
Wow.
been around since, dinosaur times, and they still are. So longevity, that I'm going to latch onto that one.
Okay, I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good one.
I think you're the first well, you're definitely the first person to pick the crab. So, everyone says a pterodactyl. Everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can fly?
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I would not be a pterodactyl. I'd be the velociraptor. But the pterodactyl, that's what everybody chooses. So
Interesting.
now that we're talking to a professional, and now that we know this, what are your thoughts on T-Rex being a flying dinosaur? Because there's a little bit of probably conspiracy theories
Yeah.
that their arms are so small because they had massive wings, so they tucked them in, and they were actually flying dinosaurs as opposed. And their wings were hollow, so you don't ever find them when they dig them up. So, what are your
I
thoughts?
don't know. I just think, like laws of physics and ergonomics. How could you pick up a body that big? I mean, there's
How do some of these airplanes take off? These airplanes are massive. Maybe the wings are just like incredibly long. I don't know.
I call BS on that.
All right. Well, you heard it here. It's BS from a science teacher. So from here on out, the T-Rex was a ground animal. Carrie, thank you so much for coming on. It was so much fun. I love laughing on a
Thank you.
podcast. It makes what we do worth it. And so, where can people find you? Where can people subscribe to your YouTube, or where can people find you on Instagram? Or if they want to come say hi to you at a Spartan Races, where are you going to be? Just let us know.
All right. I don't have a YouTube channel. That would just put humanity to step back somehow or other. But I am on Instagram, Carrie S. Lynn, Instagram. I will be at the Arizona Spartan in February. That's Valentine's Day weekend. So come find me at the registration tent there. And if you're in Huntsville, Alabama, I'll be at the Running Lane shoe store or the YMCA or running around up on Montesano somewhere.
Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yep. Well, if you love Carrie's podcast and you want to hear more, please leave us a review. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a comment on the Instagram post. This helps get more people out there. I say it every podcast, but please leave us a review. This helps our podcast. Review. And we'll see you on the trails.